This is Infection, the H1Z1 podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, April 21st, 2015, episode 14. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Infection. Infection is your source for the latest information on H1Z1. We bring you the latest news, changelogs, developments, strategies, and speculation each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Gamecast Live is my Twitter handle, and infectionpodcast.com is the website. Joining me again, Brian Aldridge. How you doing, Brian?
Hello. I'm doing great so far. It's very warm in here.
So far? Are you insinuating that something is going to change?
No. It's like it gets summer, and then this room gets warmer and warmer. And my only vent in this room is under that fish tank.
Oh, perfect.
And so usually I have a fan that blows nice cold air in here, but during the show, that doesn't work so well. So it gets warmer and warmer. So by the end of the show, I'll be sweating. People in the podcast won't be able to hear it, but people that are watching live will see my
I think your chair's
forehead
sinking.
dripping.
I think your chair's sinking, Brian.
Do I need to rise up?
Yeah, you look like you're sinking a little bit. Sinking into the depths.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
We're good.
Yeah, much better. So what's going on, Brian?
Well, so this past week was actually, I think, pretty good.
I didn't have as much play time, which is something I'd like to say straight up. I didn't have a lot of time to play this week. I played for a little bit, but I didn't have a lot of play time this week. I was trying some other games, busy with work and school and all that other stuff. So,
but I got a lot of play time.
Well,
so
there
we're
you go.
Good.
So take it away, Brian. I'll see you in about an hour and a half.
I'll talk to you about an hour and a half.
Watch some baseball. See you later.
You can throw in. Yeah, just make sure you change the screens for me.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
But yeah, so this week seems like it was pretty good as far as the last 2 weeks. And we had some people actually email in. Okay, so last week we had the developers on, right? Mm-hmm. And this is something where we had a lot of people from Reddit and people that only wanted to hear about hacking on that were coming on and listening to the show that day. And then you have the normal listeners, or regular listeners that, man, they just heard all about hacking the week before and me being upset about it. And so this week is not going to be about hacking. I mean, we may mention the word, but it's not going to be a hacking episode because that's pretty much been our last 2 weeks. And it'll be nice to actually talk about other elements of the game.
And we took some feedback. We got an email I think it was yesterday. Some guy sent us an email and he said, summarizing the email, basically, I don't want to hear about hacking anymore. Like, this is constructive criticism. I enjoy your show, but I don't feel like hearing about hacking every week. And we really appreciate that criticism. And we totally structured our show.
As long as it's constructive.
Exactly. It was constructive, and it was a valid point. So for anybody that's here and first saw the show last week when if you saw it when the devs were on, we welcome you back. And if you're new for your first time, this is Infection. And basically we're just going to go through all the different things that happened this week in the game, stuff the devs talked about, and all that other stuff. So, Brian, let's kick it off with the patch notes.
We were going to do this a little bit differently because usually we do the patch notes towards the end, but just the patch notes came out the day after, or the actual patch came out the day after our last broadcast. And I think that we'd be covering a lot of the same things if we did the patch notes afterwards. So I kind of want to go through this in order so we don't rush through the patch notes later. Yeah. So one thing they added, and I guess I can kind of tell a little bit of a backstory with this. We got this sleeping mat that we don't know where it came from in our base. The day after this patch came out, we come in to our base and all of our doors are missing on the lower floor. And so somebody had teleported into the base, blew up, and this change that they did last week of not allowing people in to loot the chests is making it so that the hackers are actually having to blow up the doors once they're in, which I love that. And I don't mind the doors being gone. At least they didn't go in and delete all the chests and the door's still closed. But in that morning, there was a sleeping mat there. So I don't know if the hackers put a sleeping mat because they were they ran out of time or they were getting too tired. But we now have a sleeping mat that we don't know where it came from. But yeah, they have these sleeping mats because we were having to run constantly back and forth from this house that's near our base back to the base just because you get tired, and the whole rest system was broken in the beginning But now you can use a mattress that's in the base, so you don't have to run back and forth constantly. You get rested, and it's not a spawn point. They were very clear on saying that.
That was a huge problem because we'd literally we'd have like 5 people take or like 6 or 7 people take 2 different cars just to drive to a house so that everybody could sleep for 30 seconds. And it's, this situation where you're just going to a house. Actually, the one time I did it, like all 4 of us got killed because we just pulled up to the house and there were instantly people there.
Well, and by that time, I'm already running super slow. And
exactly.
So it's like you're going half speed. So I had this one time we went over there to rest. I'm going half speed. There's 2 guys in this house. And so I'm all jumping around them, just trying to go at a normal rate. And then they instantly, they killed me because I couldn't even run away. And then some other guys killed the rest of them. But that's a huge problem.
Yeah, it was definitely something that we had to, with such a large group, it was something that we noticed more and more because we're, pretty isolated to our base. We stay in there and we leave either when A, we're going to get loot, or B, going to raid another base. So for us, 10 people having to rest at varied intervals was just kind of, was just something that was very annoying to us.
Yeah, and as they said, this is not a spawn point, which in Rust, and I think that's where a lot of people were getting that idea. Mm-hmm. In Rust, there was a spawn point, and so that would be where if you died, you would come back to the base. If you hit respawn, you would spawn back at the base. I really think that would almost be. It would be easy mode.
It would be. It would be. I originally thought that would be a good idea, but now I'm under the belief that that would, like you said, just make the game easy. Like too easy. Like it's this point where you're just like, all right, this is just a game you play for fun, like Minecraft, where you sleep in a bed once and then now that's where you just respawn every time. I mean, them adding the coordinates to the HUD in the bottom right hand corner is easy mode enough. I don't think they need any more help with that.
And that's the problem. They would have to make it like some other games where when you start dying a lot, it will put a timer on there. And that's what they'd have to end up doing, to where, let's say a base raid happens, you get shot by somebody, the first one is an instant respawn. Okay, then once you die again within a certain period of time, you have a minute cooldown. Then you have 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, to where if there's a raid, it gives those people time. If they keep killing you inside of the base, it gives them time to actually complete the raid, do whatever they're going to do, and at that point you maybe just be respawning to a random point and trying to run back because it's a shorter amount of time.
Yeah, that would be something that I think would be really hard for them to implement, just like the whole, doing that system and making sure that it's accurate every time. So,
but imagine that would cut down on people typing respawn to get the spawn they want.
That
would fix some problems.
But then at this point, this game's not survival. If you're just going to spawn at your base every single time that you die, this game's no better than just a regular, like, walk around, do whatever you want, shoot 'em up game. Yeah. There would be zero survival aspect to the game if you could just respawn at your base. Yeah. I mean, would it be convenient? Of course. But would it make the game, why would you leave your base? Yeah. Like, you'd never have to get back to your base. It wouldn't even be survival. Now, if they did a game mode with that, now you're talking, right? If they did a game mode where you could spawn back at your base and it was more of a clan game mode where spawning at your base would be something
What about
useful?
PvE? I mean, realistically, PvE, you're very rarely going to die. And if you do die...
Yeah,
no one's going to kill you in your base. I mean, the worst case in PvE is you're going to starve to death.
Mm-hmm. I'd probably be more on board with a PvE only spawning at your bed, or a different type of game mode that they would like. But but definitely in the regular PvP survival, I don't think that would be well received. It would be convenient, but I don't even think you'd see people. I mean, I think a lot of people we run by are just fresh spawns running from somewhere to a base, or to Pleasant Valley, or to Cranberry. We wouldn't see those people anymore.
No.
And plus, you'd really have to pay attention for people spawning behind you. I mean, talk about just a huge problem.
Imagine if people were making those beds inside of the police department's basement, where you'd have people constantly spawning in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would.
I'm sure they put limitations on where you could place it, but we've seen how well that works. I still see bases that are in the middle of the road, so I don't think that's actually been solved And so I don't count on them not letting you place one of those beds in a place that you're not supposed to.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say they're working on that, and I see it a lot less, right? I'll give them some credit. I see it a whole lot
it's
less
definitely
than I
been
saw
cleared
before.
out.
But like parking lots, it's still a little iffy. They can still build on top of other buildings, so it's not 100% set. But that
Yeah,
works.
and they could make it so that it's an item you can destroy. So let's say you do raid a base, and there's these people's sleeping bags laid out there. I mean, that could be a limited. It could be to where it's like the bed. You can only put them side by side. So there's a limited amount of space that you can use, and it takes away from your usable space in the base, right? So where you could lay those out, and then as a raiding team, you could go and destroy all those beds, and then they're back to random spots. I mean, that could be part of game element.
And then we've got DJ Williams is saying in chat, imagine somebody else placing a spawn point a few hundred yards from your base where they just constantly keep coming back.
Well, that would be the new raiding thing, is to where they would stick one in your base.
Exactly.
Of course, if you could see them and destroy them, that wouldn't be as much of a problem.
He says that would open up Pandora's box. I would have to agree that would just be like the Pandora's box in the game. Like you just have like a total disaster everywhere.
Yeah. So I think how they did it, I think that works. For me, that was the way to implement it, not using it as a spawn point. I mean, if you're going to do the whole I'm tired thing that they're doing, great. That's fine. And I think that was a way to implement it. Now, police cars, they've had the interior, and I haven't seen this. We've driven in police cars, but I never go in first person mode.
Yeah, I don't know who drives in first person mode. It's almost impossible. I mean, you can't see anything. Good luck seeing a car behind you.
So they've redone the police car first person, and I know that they're going through each of the vehicles. And then, of course, they mentioned last week there will be new vehicles coming into the game. Yeah. So that's good that they're getting these done. The first one they did is always such a rough cut that you go inside the vehicle, it's really fuzzy. It's not a high quality image at all. So they're making it just to give you a little bit more of that realism.
Yeah.
Now, I want to make a comment here because I have been, DJ Williams says, have you guys seen cars recently? I think we had 6 cars at our base today.
Really? Today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Today we had 6 cars sitting at our base. So, I mean, we don't have a shortage of cars. If you're wondering where the cars are, maybe that's where they're at. But so I mean, we get probably 6 to 10 cars. So that Ferment's saying about 10 cars a day,
and then they all blow up for like some reason.
And then some random reason, somehow they all get destroyed by the end of the day. It's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, that's one thing that if you are new to this game and you're thinking like, oh my god, I found a car, my whole game is going to change. You'll have it for like 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Something will happen.
Something will happen. You'll glitch fly through the ground.
Even if you have a wrench, even if you have a wrench, it will randomly flip.
You'll hit a rock.
It will blow up. Something will happen. And so on here we have...
Oh, here we go. This is a picture. Hold on. Let me show this real quick before we keep going. So this is... Let's see. This is Musty's picture. Just posted this. That's... So
this is them doing 1 hour of car gathering.
Yeah. And we've got a couple...
Is that 10 cars there?
Yeah. About 5 clan members sitting up there on top of the cars. Actually, that'd be 6 with him. So...
I think that's 9 cars they have right there.
9 cars, 6 clan members, so doesn't take much.
Anyways, so that's our garage, and that's what we've been experiencing lately. And now I was going to say, you look at the polish. I've been playing some Grand Theft Auto 5 lately, and man, you go look at how their cars are in the interior, just how everything is so polished, and then you look at the cars in our
well, that's because they have Los Santos Customs, Brian, and you can just bring your car in and spray it up for $500.
You know,
this is zombie survival, not Gran Turismo. I mean,
I understand this is alpha, but you know, you go look at those cars and like how everything is so pristine, and then you come and look at our police car and our truck. You know, it's like, all right, whatever. But hopefully, as they add more cars, I mean, I don't think they're going for the same look. If you look at Grand Theft Auto, it's a very polished look. It's a very complete. One thing I was amazed with is how much detail everything has and how big of an environment it is. I don't think I ever expect this game to reach that level because it's a different kind of game. But it would be nice if they got some variety like that. You know, right now, there are a lot of cars out there that they've already made the models for. The vans, all these different types of cars. You know, I don't know what's stopping them from doing this other than they haven't made the interior and they haven't worked out all the physics of the cars to be able to drive. But they got a lot of those outer models all done. So I know there's work to get those done.
So I'm all for the cars, but there's going to be, and we're going to notice this soon, I think. They're going to have to eventually tweak car spawns and server populations. Like, that's going to have to be soon. A group of what? 15 people should not have 9 cars. I mean, like, it should be, right now, we get a car and we just destroy it and we don't care. Because guess what? We'll just go and we'll pick up another car. It's like this, like this unlimited resource. And at some point, they're going to have to sit down and say, all right, if this is a medium pop server, we can't be spawning 70 cars. Like, they're not spawning 70 cars, but it feels like there's an unlimited amount of cars, because whenever we leave anywhere, one of our people always has spark plugs and batteries on them. So we'll just be driving down the road and we'll say, oh, there's a car. Oh, there's a car. We go out with 1 car and we come back with 4. And it's like this never-ending train of cars. I'm not complaining, but at some point they're going to have to tweak that and say, we don't need this many cars. A car should be something that is, is really rare, and something that when you get, you hold on to and, actually make it part of the game. But when everybody can just, when we have 9 cars, who cares?
Well, and that's the thing is with the cars, we know, you've seen it over and over again. Mm-hmm. As things are released in the game, people get them, like the bows and the helmets, everything. Immediately we hear, oh, there's too many of this. There's so many of this. Why do the developers do this? And then a couple of weeks later, I mean, how often do you see recurve bows laying around now? How often do you see helmets laying around now? These cars, I think once they start to, I'd like to, as someone said in chat, Henny TV said that they're going to be doing an SUV next. They want to see buses. I want to see a fire engine. I think I mentioned this last week, but a fire engine that you can use with a workable fire hose, like a sprayer on the top to knock back zombies in hordes as you're down in the main city. Things like that would be a lot of fun. I think once they start get that variety, make them to where you don't see the same people. Like right now, we've got three different types of cars, and we have a couple of each car. Make it to where the cars are more unique. Make it so you have enough of them to where maybe there's 1 fire truck or 2 fire trucks per map. Make it so there's 1 school bus. Make it to where it's more of a rare thing, and then put that decay on there. So the second that someone picks it up from the spawn point, it starts to take damage over time, and it's not like someone can hoard it for 24 hours.
Yeah. Avenging Outfit is saying something interesting in chat. He's saying, I think we need bikes before we need cars. I would be on board with that. Bikes would, and I think bikes would make
I know
this
they
game
are working on
different.
bikes.
The models in the game,
the physics for bike.
If you go inside the cabin of the cabins in the campgrounds and you jump up on the countertop that's in the main room, you can see a bike in like the attic.
Yeah, it's there, and so the model's in the game.
Exactly.
But I don't think they have all the moving parts and the physics of it.
But here's the thing: how different can the physics of a car be and the physics of a bike? I mean, you're not gonna you can't run people over with cars, so it doesn't really matter. But I mean, they've got the moving physics work. You don't lose.
Do you want
energy.
a little bell?
Yeah, I mean that's key. They need a bell. Ding, ding. They need a little basket in the front so you can carry your dog in there.
Now that would be funny if they had a variety to where like some really tough looking guy has to sit there and ride a little peak bike with a basket on the front. Yeah. Have a random set of bikes to where you're hoping I get a nice bike, but then you get the little girly bike.
Yeah, but bicycles would be good.
Funny.
And for men in chat is saying it's completely different. It may be.
The physics of it.
I guess so. And you know what? Somebody
a lot of these things are being made from scratch.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Grand Theft Auto before. How many games do they have in their history that are similar to this?
This is GTA 5 plus DLC.
GTA 5, but also they did the Max Payne series. If you look at the last Max Payne, a lot of the combat physics that you see, and they did not only that, but they did what's that one that's a detective story?
You're asking me?
Yeah,
the game.
There's a game that's it's an old 50s style detective story, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. But that one as well. They were doing a lot of the model mappings of faces and getting that realism that they're now implementing and using in Grand Theft Auto 5. And so I think
LA Noire. There you go.
LA Noire. There you go. So if you look at this, they're using a ton of history and a ton of assets, resources to be able to pull this game together and make it what it is. What does this company Daybreak have realistically that's the same as that? I mean, they have Lord of the Rings online, right?
Yeah. Planet Side.
They have Planet Side, and then they have EverQuest.
All very similar.
Yeah, it's like they don't have
a genre.
Those similar genres to pull together and be like, oh, let's. I mean, they pulled the grouping system from Planet Side. They pull a few things from these different places, but it's not like they can use. I think do they have Lord of the Rings online? I think that's Sony Online. Yeah,
I don't know
if I remember correctly. I might be wrong on that. Annie TV is like, is that Sony? I maybe it's not. That might be a different company, but they have these online games that are very different genres that they can't really pull their graphics from and a lot of the technologies. I mean, they haven't implemented like the face mapping technology that they used in EverQuest. They have little things like that I don't know if they'll at some point maybe implement in this, but they could.
Yeah, and because I know you'll get
Star Wars Galaxies. There we go.
So Lord of the Rings Online is Turbine who makes that. So because obviously.
Okay, yeah. So that's the wrong one.
Yeah, but the same difference. I mean, you make a valid point. You look at even the same thing with any other series. You look at Halo and Call of Duty. I mean, it's the same thing.
They retread a lot of the same things to make it to where it's easy for them to put out a game.
Yeah,
and these guys said, we want to make this type of a game, not looking at the history of their games.
Yeah.
I think Smedley got this idea of, hey, I want to make a zombie game because zombies are really cool right now, and this will be a lot of fun. And look at DayZ. Everybody likes DayZ. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, but see, the difference with DayZ was there was already Arma. Arma 1 had been out, and then Arma 2 came out, and then the mod came out. So it was like there was already a backbone.
Yeah, they modified and they altered some graphics. And so these guys started from scratch for the most part. I mean, they're using some sort of engine, the Planet Side engine. So they do have that. But for the most part, they started from scratch in a lot of this. So I think that's why we see what we consider such a rough cut of so many things. That if they would have had some previous games that were war games, that were zombie things, that they could have pulled a lot of those assets in and maybe changed how they look. But they don't have that. So that's why we get, now they're implementing bombs. They're implementing, because they have to start all these things from scratch.
Yeah. And as much crap as we give them, I feel like every week I'm saying this now, but look at where we were a month ago.
Yeah.
2 months ago. I mean, we've come so far. Everything's not perfect. But there's progress there, right? As much crap as we give them, there's clear progress, and
And Henny TV is making a point that if you look at the assets that are included in this, there are a lot of Planet Side 2 assets, and I do realize that. But if you look at the look and the feel of Planet Side 2, it's very different. It's not like they're recycling the trees, and it's not like they're recycling the buildings. There's a very big difference. So they are doing a lot, and there are things in this game that were not in Planet Side 2. And so that's where they're having to kind of reinvent these wheels that other companies may have already done before. And that was kind of my point.
As we got off on our tangent there.
Okay. So
were we?
Okay. So we talked about police cars. I mean, this whole thing went from police cars. So well rested duration is doubled because it was getting it to where you would be well rested, and I could do about 5 laps around the top of our base, and then it would go away. So they're making it so you get a little more time with that, to where you have that run bonus.
Yeah.
Fixed an issue with not being able to pick up handcuff keys. This was something that was, I guess, wasn't so bad because you can break out of handcuffs.
Not all the time, though. We had members in our base that, for whatever reason,
we had someone who logged out and logged back in while they were still handcuffed, and then it didn't work, so they had to die.
Yeah, that was an interesting bug. So you can now pick up those handcuff keys, which is nice. Now, another thing, Brian, you talked about when you're tired or exhausted, it slows you down. They've gotten rid of that, so it will no longer slow you down. It just drains your stamina at a higher rate. That's really good, because that's not really, like, you shouldn't be losing a PvP battle because you're not rested. Like, that just seems like a stupid reason for you to be losing a PvP battle. I mean, to the point where you can't even walk and keep up with somebody that doesn't really work. Going back to the rest, the timer is now only 20 seconds instead of, I believe it was 30 or 40 before. I think it was 30.
I think it was 30 seconds.
So it's 20 seconds now, which is a lot easier. And the hardest part with that 30 seconds was you were in public. You were just in these random houses. So you're just standing.
That's a long timer when you're sitting there waiting for somebody to walk in.
Yeah, exactly. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to have, people watching the doors or whatever, because you're just standing there for 30 seconds. You might as well just be AFK. So that's good now. And also you can now rest with the firehouse cots as well going into rest.
One of the important things. Now, why don't they make it so that if there's any bed in the game, you can rest at it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that seems like that would be the easier thing. If there's a bed there.
But I mean, you could say the same thing about cars. Just because there's cars there doesn't mean you can't drive them.
But there's not modeled. They don't have to work on doing the interior models and the physics of a bed.
Where else are there beds that, like, you can't sleep in? Like, are you talking about like the houses, like the big houses?
Yeah,
over,
any house and anywhere, because there are a few places here and there where there are beds, but you can't actually click on them.
Well, the mansions by Pleasant
Valley. If there's
Valley,
a bed.
Can you sleep in those?
Some of them you can, some of them you can't. I mean, we found built houses like that to where some of the beds work, some don't. Just make a bed sleepable anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like that'd be the simpler thing rather than them going through and saying, oh, let's make this bed you're able to sleep in. Oh, here's one we missed. Let's make it this way. Just all the way across. Pleasant Valley houses you can't rest in, they're saying.
Okay.
So just make it so that any bed that's there, why couldn't you sleep down and lay down in any bed?
Exactly.
There's no reason.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You heard it first.
So, yeah. So we'll be giving them an idea. Maybe next week they'll be like, "Oh, that would be easier than us doing this one by one."
There you go.
So they fixed an issue where you can use a Mansport backpack skin on a military backpack, and you can only skin other Mansport backpacks now. So I guess that was just a little graphics issue of you being able to skin a backpack that was not the same type.
Okay, I have a little bit of a tangent here, Brian.
Okay.
Why can you not drop stuff that you skinned? Why do you have to place it in a chest? I'm sorry. It's such a colossal waste of time.
Yeah, that's the thing is now we skin shirts and all of a sudden you can't drop them in a BR.
If they want to make it a system where what you skin is locked to your character, they shouldn't let you get rid of it out of your character slot. If that's what they're trying to do.
I can't even skin some of them. I mean, I can't even shred some of them.
Hannah TV is saying that's a bug. I don't think that's a bug. I think that's an implementation because I'm assuming
they're making it so they want it to where you go out and earn your own skins.
Yeah.
Ferment's saying as well, it's a bug.
Wow.
But that's just weird.
But here's the problem. It's been a bug for like a month and a half, so that's stupid on their part for obviously not fixing a problem. But it's such a pain because we'll be sitting out there and Ferment's got a cool helmet skin, and he skins the helmet, and then they're like, oh, no, let's go to a room so I can drop it in a chest for you. It's like, really?
Well, and then in BR, if you look at BR, where's the chest that you can stick stuff into?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have, you can't click on things anymore.
Yeah.
But if you've noticed in BR, it used to be, even though you would never find anything in an object, that you would be able to loot the object anyways.
Exactly.
They have it to where you don't even interact with those things anymore in VR. So
there's no reason.
So now, good luck giving someone else the shirt that you have. Unless you're in a vehicle, you can stick it in the trunk and then you can exchange it that way. But that is a huge pain.
Or a loot cache, if that's in there.
I don't even know. I don't think you can interact with the loot cache.
You used
anymore.
to be able to. Maybe they changed that. But
I think they changed all that.
That's a stupid thing. Like that's something that's just like because it used to work fine originally, and then once they started doing additions to the skins, it stopped working. So I'm wondering if they're saying it's a bug and they're just looking for an implementation where it locks skinned items to your character. I doubt this is a bug. I really do.
Well, and that's the thing is, Handy TV points out, and if you go look at the SOE issue tracker, they have their game-breaking bugs, and then they have their just, okay, this is a visual bug, or this is something that has nothing to do with whether the game works correctly or not.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like they should be fixing that bug before they're worrying about making a high-res model for the police car. Like, I get it, but I don't know. It's just they're pushing skins and they're pushing that system, but part of their system is broken. They want people to get skins. They're trying to do all this stuff, and then it doesn't. And then it doesn't work. So that's something that needs to be fixed. I honestly didn't think that was a bug. I thought that was like an some type of anti-skin thing that they had implemented.
Well, and this is, I guess, for those that don't understand how some of the structure works with programming these things, you'll have a code base, and then these people will be making changes, and submitting these changes to the code base. And a lot of what we're realizing is, okay, someone submitted a change over here that broke this. Then they're having to go and fix that. And I don't know that there's a way that you can totally cut that out. I don't know if it's coding practices or if it's just the nature of the beast of how it's going to work. But we're getting probably a lot of these things. And I don't know if they're doing a weird code system to where maybe it's because it seems like we get some of the old bugs back.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone has a set of code that they're working on that they didn't submit that then overwrites, and that would be a problem with their actual
then they're
code,
not then they're
implementation.
they're not pulling from like the right repositories, and they're just storing old code on their hard drive and making changes.
And so if they're doing it that way, that would make sense that they're going back and forth with some of these
But if
bugs.
that's the case,
but realistically, they need to
people
be submitting these patches in the correct way so that it doesn't undo things.
They must be, because here's the thing: this company's made games before. They know the proper programming steps to follow, that tree to go down. I doubt that they have old code on their computers that they're modifying and fixing bugs without pulling the latest stuff from the server.
Yeah.
That if that's the case, then man, we don't have much hope. If that's the case.
Okay, and that's something that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. But the test server that they've implemented, hopefully that fixes a lot of these problems where they submit the changes that this is going to happen. And then people have an opportunity to play out those changes and see, all of a sudden we can't shred shirts, or all of a sudden we can't sleep in beds, or you name the bug that we see. All of a sudden these things happen when we submit this code change. Then they have an opportunity to undo that code change if they need to without it redoing all of the servers, on the main base.
Yeah. So let's get through these patch notes here, and then we'll get onto that other stuff. So the health drain from being dehydrated and starving has been slightly increased, which hasn't really been a problem.
It's noticeable, but it's not been to where.
No, but I'm saying
when you're watching it, 5 minutes later you're starving.
Yeah, getting food, I'm saying, isn't a problem, so that really shouldn't be a big deal for anybody. The white T-shirt now has the correct icon, so in the game, it's just not just the icon. You could not skin a white T-shirt, and this drove me crazy in VR. Didn't know that. Okay, didn't know that.
Okay, so now, and I don't know why they word it like this, but they say the correct icon. Okay. It had the right icon before. I think that this is them not putting it correctly in the release notes as far as what they're saying. It wasn't that it didn't have the right icon. The icon is the same. It's just the white T-shirt only you were not able to skin. So if you got stuck in a BR, because they give you random different shirts, you would go to skin that white T-shirt, be like, oh, I got stuck with the white T-shirt. You're stuck with the white T-shirt until you find another shirt that you can pick up and skin. Yeah. So. And so that was one of those bugs where it's like, this makes no sense. Why is the white T-shirt different? So they put in here as the correct icon, but maybe that means that it's actually recognized as a shirt that you can skin.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Now, something else that they've changed, Brian, and this is like a sound thing. Your character will now start breathing heavier when you're lower on stamina. There's no animation for it yet. The question is, how loud will this breathing be? Will it be to the point where you're in a house and somebody else comes in there and you can hear them breathing loud, or they can hear you breathing loud? I mean, because right now, sounds are pretty useless. You can't hear people walking. You really only just hear people shooting or driving. So is this something that we're talking about where if you're getting chased by somebody, you're not going to be able to hide in a house because,
So it is noticeable. The heavy breathing is within a certain distance. You can hear it because we've had people that are next to each other. We were running around Heisenberg, and he's all like, "What is that noise?" And he's sitting there breathing hard. He doesn't realize it's him, but it's just him sitting there breathing hard, and you can hear them. It's not like someone walks into the house and the only thing that's going to give them away is that heavy breathing. What might give them away is they'll actually bend over, and like rest themselves. Like, let's say someone's running and they're resting and they put their head down. That will happen when you're exhausted. I think when you're at 0%.
Well, that's interesting.
So that's a mechanic they put in, but you will start to breathe heavier. We're going to talk about some of these other sounds in some of these, but when you're hungry, there's a noise. When you're tired, there's a noise. When you die, there's a noise. So these are all new things that they've added.
Yeah, Mazel Tov cocktails. Those are in the game now as well.
Mazel Tov.
Isn't that what I said?
Hey, Mazel Tov.
Mazel
You
Tov.
said Mazel Tov. That's all right.
Mazel Tov cocktails. All right, there you go. The player speed is now reduced when moving in water. This isn't the first time. I think they're tweaking this, right? Because weren't you slower previously?
No, I don't.
No?
I don't. Before this, I don't think there was any speed reduction in water.
And we should say this is last week's patch notes. I don't know if we said that.
So
at the
this is
beginning.
the
This is the 16th. So this stuff's already been implemented for like.
So this
4
is what
days.
you're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
And we didn't really get to cover the patch notes too much last week, being that we had the developers on.
Exactly. So we're doing it now.
And so this is the Molotov cocktail. So there is a throwable that's implemented right now. You can craft it, and it is pretty powerful. The fire animations really seem to kill the performance of the game. I mean, I noticed when we go to rate a base and we throw down 40 plus ethanols, you explode those, and your frame rate just goes down to 9 and below.
Oh no, 9 and below, Brian. You're overestimating it. Ferment and I were blowing up a base door. My FPS was like 2, like for a good 20 seconds. Like if somebody was to come up and try to kill me, like they would have killed me without a doubt.
Yeah,
because
and that's where you almost have to stick all of your settings at low, like turn off everything.
Yeah, and do a raid.
And all you have to do, imagine if at the very end, if you had a way to make it like on a BR, make a ton of explosives, and you set all your settings to low, and just when the circle got really small, you just explode a huge amount of ethanol and start running around and killing everyone instantly because their frame rates are so low. That would be a great. I wish you could do that.
You heard it here first. Maybe you can. You heard it here first.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd have to go and get every single gas can in the game somehow for the cars.
Yeah, there you go.
And then that's a strategy.
Yeah, and then the last thing on this for the release notes is that the Battle Royale emotes should now work again. Now, grouping, Brian, you have been pushing for this for so long now, the grouping system.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about this a little bit, because I know you were a real avid person.
Okay, so first of all, we spoke about this before. We ran into an issue where with the grouping system, people could jump into your groups and you had no way of easily removing them. You couldn't really see who's in your group. So we'd have people run up to us and join our auto group, and then we'd have to hesitate on killing them. And so they have implemented a system to where you can go in and see, all right, here's the people that are in the group, here is the current leader of the group. You can say, all right, I don't want to be able to join auto groups. So let's say we don't want someone being able to auto group into our group. We could go through and say, all right, ignore these auto group requests, and you could manually invite people to the group. That's something that makes it a lot nicer when we have a large group like ours, because as you saw, people are able to use that against you. But it's also hard to organize. I think as people get more organized and you make groups that maybe one set of people want to have a group and another set of people want to have another, like a raid group, if you want to call it that it's hard. Someone accidentally joins the wrong one, you can see, oh, that person's in the wrong one. I'm going to kick them out. You invite them. So it's much better than it was. It's not a super fancy system. There's options in there that they could easily add with the button, and I don't know why they didn't. Mm-hmm. Seems like they should just add every ability with the button of promote to leader. Like you can't promote, if you're a leader, you can't select someone else and say, I want to make them leader. You have to use a command to do it. And that doesn't make a lot of sense. The ability's there. Why not just easily add the button at the moment?
Yeah, the GUI is what they need to fix.
Yeah. I mean, so the GUI is there. It's a rough draft of the GUI, and I'm assuming they just wanted to get it out there. But I would assume that later they're going to be adding it to where you have a little more control of being able to say, all right, this person's leader, this person, maybe even change the colors that are above them. There are a lot of things that could do with it.
So I just asked Ferment for a screenshot of this so we can show it on the air. So this is what the group tab looks like now. You can type in somebody's name and you can invite, and then you can see the group members. You can disband the group, which would totally close the group. Or you could quit the group and you would just leave and it would make somebody else the leader. So something like that, which is nice there. So that's the GUI system is going to be really helpful, because we had a lot of problems with that auto group. There was a lot of hesitations where a bunch of us get killed because of that auto group system. So, and people in our chat, it's been working for a while. Just use the commands. That's not ideal. If you're standing out in the middle of the open and you need to squad somebody, it is not ideal to stop and try to get their name with the right case. Oh, is there a capital N here? Is there not a capital N there? It's a real pain. It's so a GUI system is needed.
Yeah, and
that's
like
what it would need.
Nisco says, have like a lock group. Okay, this group is as big as we want it. We're going to lock it. No one else can join, or they can leave, but no one else can add themselves to our group.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things they could fix.
But this is a nice first step for the GUI system. This was a long time coming.
So one thing we didn't mention, but for I think it was a day, the emotes didn't work in VR.
Yeah.
Which actually they had a day where the sound didn't work in VR.
They had a bug where the sound didn't work in the whole game. That was
the whole
first
game.
day.
So I first logged in right after that patch. And I just assumed there was something going on with my computer or something. But yeah, the sound was totally out. And I can imagine that VRs were fun at that point because you couldn't hear bullets coming at you. Even at the base, you couldn't hear if someone was shooting at you.
It's like playing without headphones, yeah.
Yep. So that's something they fixed, I think, the same day. So that was a good thing.
So that's pretty much for the group system. Now the bees, Brian. This is interesting. This isn't. I'm wondering why this got pushed up so much. I mean, I don't feel like this is a game necessary feature.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was so important to implement the bees now. I don't know. The bee box, I understand what they're trying to do, but at this point in the game, I don't know how important that is. Like, I think I would rather have other things than a bee box. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but is it necessary at this point? No. So essentially, you can create a bee box. Like in real life, the bees will go there and it will make honeycomb. You can fill up to 5 full honeycombs in the bee box, and that's essentially what's going to happen. So the honeycomb, you can eat it. You can drain honey from it, and the honey will make your endurance higher, your stamina, and your energy. And the honeycomb will give you the same thing, but with lower values than raw honey. And you can do stuff
this
with
is something.
bandages. This is.
I'm wondering if this is stuff that they kind of had in there, but maybe because of the bees, like they hadn't made the bees yet. Like all this other stuff was there, and maybe they just didn't make all the bee animations. Because I remember them working on those bee animations, and once they finished that part of it, it seems like they released it. So I'm wondering if all this other stuff was just stuff they had made, and they're like, okay, we don't have the bees right yet, so let's just keep it all here. Okay, someone made the bees today, we'll release it all. It's not like they spent a week working on bees this week. Yeah, now somebody's saying, the assets have been, that's my bad for that, but the assets have been in the game apparently for a while, so it wasn't hard for them to implement. So my bad on that. Yes, so that's something that I haven't seen the candles yet. I've had wax, but I haven't seen the candles. It says that they will burn for a couple of days, so you can place them maybe in a room. I haven't seen any yet, so this will be interesting to see what they actually looked as those candles burn over a couple days period. Now, Brian, this is real quick. Have they fixed the dew collectors yet? We haven't built any. Why are they not? I haven't seen anything about dew collectors. Why is that not a thing to work? Like we're building bee boxes. Why are we not working on dew collectors? Like that's a huge thing. In our base, it would be great to have. It would be great to have 200 bottles in a dew collector, and then over time, those bottles just slowly fill up. That would be great. Okay, so here's what I think they might be doing. I think that maybe when rain comes back, they may fix the actual dew collectors. Because I think that they need to work out a system where when it rains, your dew collector fills instantly, right? That'd be a perfect opportunity to refill a bunch of your bottles, get that done. Right now, it's just too slow of a system. If we throw in 200 water bottles into a dew collector, it won't finish. Mm-hmm. That'll make it to where it's just there's not really. For us, it's not practical. It's easier for us to go give each person 25 water bottles and say go fill them up, rather than waiting 2 days for 200 bottles to fill up. Exactly, that makes a little more sense then. So I'm hoping that maybe once they get the rain implemented, the system will seem a little more practical. To where like, okay, I hope it rains so that all my water bottles fill up more quickly. Mm-hmm. Then it gives it a point. But right now, for us, other than using it for storage, which they were disappearing too quickly anyways, maybe when the rain happens, that'll be like, oh, okay, it's kind of like going down to the water and filling up all your water bottles. Because once it's raining really hard, why wouldn't your dew collector fill up instantly?
Exactly. And they would just have to figure out how much is,
what's the rate of filling
exactly.
at that point.
That's all they'd have to figure out.
But you throw them in there and just hope it rains that day.
Exactly. And we've got so many spare bottles, it would just be like one of these things where you just throw them in there and you'd be like, oh, hey, look at all of our bottles are filled. Whoop-de-doo, we don't have to make a run down to the water. So that's
and why don't they last? Also, why don't they last like 3 days, 4 days without being repaired?
Yeah, no, they're pretty bad.
I don't know if they fixed that either. I mean, maybe they fixed it and we just don't know and they haven't mentioned it.
Well, that would be pretty important to mention, I would think.
They haven't say, okay, we fixed the dew collectors. I mean, before they were 24 hours and you'd have to repair them.
Yeah.
If they did fix them, maybe they're working great and we just don't know it. But they haven't put it in the notes anywhere. They haven't even mentioned it anywhere.
So we haven't even bothered.
Are we supposed to every week make one and see if it breaks?
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. So that's the 4.16 patch notes. It's all implemented in the game now, and they've been doing hot fixes here and there, fixing little problems like the sound and all that other stuff. So, Brian, this has been a big point of interest for a lot of people, the female character model. And the H1Z1 Twitter did confirm that there's no official date yet, but they're shooting for the end of April and or into early May. As of right now, they say she's looking great, though, but can't wait to get that released. So that's the tweet from them. Realistically, I'd say probably early to mid-May is what we're looking at. Probably.
Yeah, and I mean, they just released the full male character, so it's not like, they've gotten a lot of practice at this in the last however many weeks of getting that character out and ready. So I'm assuming a lot of that early work is done. So I think for them, I don't know what they're really looking at as far as what's difficult between the male character and the female character. They haven't put, like, here's what we're trying to tweak. What is it about a female character that's so much more difficult, other than maybe how the armor and things like that sit on a female character may be very different.
Yeah. So,
is it those things that they're having to go through, like every piece of armor and everything, and make sure they lay correctly, backpacks even, everything has to set correctly on that new frame?
Yeah, so now thanks for the update in chat. Schmedley tweeted about half an hour ago. We had started the show by then, but he said, hoping to get the female models into H1Z1 in the next 2 weeks, trying for late next week. So we'll see what comes with that. So it still puts us into either what they said before, late April, early May, depending on if there's any delays for that. So that's the female model. I know that's a lot of people are interested in that. Now, grenades, Brian. This is an interesting little thing. These grenades. Kind of a cool little add-on.
This will be interesting for. I mean, if you look, they'll one-shot a vehicle. I mean, if you throw them correctly, they will pretty much, once landing underneath a vehicle, instantly blow them up. All garages at this point will have to be covered, because all you have to do is throw one grenade into a garage, and every vehicle in there will blow up.
Yeah. So what are they going to do to deal with that? Because right now there are no covers. Like, how is this? What is this going to do?
We have a way to do it.
How is our setup?
We haven't put it on there. Our old one had it. That's going to be in a tip of the day. So
tip of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see.
So we'll have to wait. So we'll explain.
The suspense is killing me, Brian.
Well, I could explain it all now, but then I won't have my advanced tip of the day.
All right. Well, then. Okay. Yeah. So here we go. Here's another GIF for you. This one was posted on Vine a little bit earlier, but you can see he throws it under a pickup truck, and it's. This is going to be interesting in BR, because what you're going to do is you're going to run out of your car in that circle, and the one guy that's driving around is just going to launch a few grenades.
I mean, you have to get really good at timing this, though.
Yeah. I mean, plus, like, it looks great in the sandbox, but how many grenades did they actually throw, and did it not actually blow up the car? It just kind of, like, pushed the car a little bit forward. Like, there's no way this is working every time. Impossible.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with the grenades. But that's a nice feature that they've added to the game. And it's going to make, lobbing grenades into bases a lot easier. Somebody's not going to be able to just sit in their base now without being able to do anything. This is going
to be the fun thing, is when someone hides, inside of a base, and they're there. Just
hello,
lob a grenade in there, have it bounce off a couple walls, and land wherever, and hope they're going to hope that they're not in the way.
Yeah, exactly. So and it'll make the element a little bit different. Let's talk about the test servers. This has been something that they have been trying to implement for a while.
And it's definitely needed.
Of course, because previously the tests are just done locally on their end, and they can't figure out, like, the sound breaking. Like, that's stuff that they just either gets overlooked or it isn't replicated because they don't have enough people to test it. So basically what's going to be happening is people that purchase H1Z1, which it's early access right now, so anybody that purchased H1Z1 is going to have access to the new test servers. And you'll see it in your Steam library under H1Z1, and basically you'll just be able to get early builds of the QA build. So you'll get access to the patches before they're out and everything like that. So you're getting like an early release of the patches, and then what this will hopefully do is make it so that as they release things, we're not going to have as many game-breaking bugs in each patch because we'll have a mass, I don't know how many people, but a large group of people playing on these test servers, figuring out the game-breaking bugs. Hey, there's no sound here. Okay, they can fix that before they roll it out to everybody that's playing the game, and hopefully fix some of that stuff.
That was a perfect example of just something that they should have caught day one, but because they're doing these things on test servers, not real-world environments, I guess it can be difficult for them to catch some of these things. So a thing like the no sound. I mean, nobody had sound. They can roll that out on this test server. That's just like an example. That would be a sample of, okay, this is if we rolled it out on the very first server. They roll that out for a couple days. Everybody has sound. There's not any major game-breaking bugs. Roll that update out to the regular servers now. So we don't have to be as much of the guinea pigs. We are still going to be the guinea pigs, but we won't be as much of the guinea pigs at this point.
Well, that's what we signed up for. And this is nice because, this is still early access, and they're leveraging their community. They've got the game in all these people's hands. Leverage that, and that's what they're doing with these test builds and these test services. I'll definitely try these out. When they announce that they're putting something new on a test server, I'll just hop on a test server for an hour, play around, and see if I can't find anything that's broken. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a funny experience. Like having the Infection Clan rolling around on a test server with like game-breaking bugs. That's going to be fun.
That's the thing is you'll be able to go look at that roadmap and say, okay, here on the roadmap we see that they're going to be releasing, you name it, whatever it is that you're looking forward to. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, okay, I know that that's on a test server. I can go and experience that a little bit, see if it's as cool as what they're saying. And then if you see some bugs with it, you can go report those bugs. And hopefully once it gets released to the main servers, it's something that actually works correctly.
Exactly.
So you can pick out those things that that to you are important, whether it's the grouping system, whether it's the female character, and you can go and really use that piece of whatever it is, and then make sure you go to SOE issue tracker. And if you find a bug, something that doesn't look right to you, go submit it as a bug. Because without doing that, most of those things won't get fixed.
Yeah, so that'll be good there. Now, Brian, this is an interesting post I saw on Reddit. This is a little bit off topic here. But the title is, Foundations Should Degrade Quickly When No Buildings Are Left on Them. We see this all over the place. Somebody just places a foundation, and they don't build anything on it. And this is a really kind of interesting idea and something that they should implement. Essentially, it's saying the decay rate should be much quicker on a foundation if nobody's placing anything. Currently, there's no decay rate on foundations, which a lot of people are saying is a problem. But there should be some type of, once they have that implemented, a quicker decay rate.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem we've been running into is there's no way to destroy that foundation. And so they have to come up with some sort of a system to where those go away. Because seems like that's what fills up a lot of these maps first, and that we're looking forward to with these wipes. Okay, when are they going to do this wipe so this mess is gone? Or you have to be really careful when you're building a base, because if you misplace a foundation, you're screwed. You have to start over somewhere else or deal with it. There's a lot of cool things we could try doing with bases, but we don't, because once you place that foundation, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. At least people are saying make it so that you can demo hammer it. But that should be something that should decay. I mean, it litters the server. If somebody wants, Brian, if we wanted to protect a bunch of spots around the map, all we would have to do is just place a foundation there. And then just throw something on it, and that would totally screw everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's something that should decay. If there's nothing placed on it,
I think
it
almost
should slowly go
anything
away.
that can be placed that if someone doesn't touch within a 4-week period should have disappeared by then.
Easily.
Now,
4 weeks is a lot.
Or if they could come up with a system where when you walk and use that base, because there's an issue where if you place walls on the outside of where the rooms are, how do I go and repair those? There's no way for me to reach them to be able to repair everything. And so I just have to wait for them to decay and then I can replace them. Maybe they could come up with a system where something is in active use and they had a way to determine that. Then you'd be able to actually not have to constantly repair something, but they have to come up with a way to actually say, this is in use, this is not in use.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to be able to get that effectively.
Because you'll just have your foundations and other stuff just disappearing randomly.
Yeah. So I would kind of be worried about them messing that up. Mm-hmm. And then having things I don't want remove. I mean, this decay over time, I still don't see health bars over the containers, storage containers.
Yeah, neither do I.
And that worries me because I have a feeling here in a week or two that we're going to have a lot of our storage containers disappear.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun.
And so that we ran into that before, to where it seems like everything disappeared. Maybe it was a hacker, maybe it wasn't. But those storage containers, I just wish that they would show an actual percentage over them because that's a lot of stuff. Since we placed a lot of them at one time, that's a lot of stuff disappearing at one time.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem. Now, Brian, this is a cool post I just saw on Reddit. It was just posted like half an hour ago. It's a picture that fan art that somebody made, and they're saying, will this ever be in the game? And what it shows here is you've got two guys. One is named a noob, and the other one is a veteran, and they've got very different features about them. The noob has got a nice clean plaid shirt. His jacket, the blues are really vibrant on it. And then they've got the veteran that's a month old, and he's got a shaggy beard. His shirt is all kind of ruffled up. He's got a bandage on his hand. This is a cool little concept. This is something that I would want very far in the future. This is not something that I want implemented next week.
This is something that we kind of discussed a little bit where, now this is based on how long you've lived, but this is something I suggested based on how many players you've killed. Like if you are a person who does a lot of killing on site, a person that, they have a way to determine this. Maybe a person that never kills anyone unless you have to. Have it to be to where if you're going out seeking out people and killing people constantly, that you have a different look, like a bandit. I mean, that's what they did on DayZ.
Yeah,
you could be a bandit that you can visually tell that person kills on sight. That person has a bad reputation. And this is kind of another concept of that based on how long they've lived. But imagine if they then took on another look, and they'd have to figure out how to do this without it being something that's like based on the clothes. But if you could have another look based on whether they're a bandit or not?
Yeah. So that's a cool little thing. This is something I would, like I just said before, way in the future. This is not anything soon. This is something that they file away somewhere, and in 2 or 3 months' time, they say, hey, let's start working on that. This is not important to the success of the game as of right now. So that's a cool little thing we saw there. Brian, is it time for tips of the week?
Well, as long as we can get to some other stuff afterwards.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not cutting you off down the show.
All right. He's like, I'm tired of talking to you. Let's go.
Brian. I'm just not feeling it. Do you want to explain a little bit what tips of the week is for anybody that's new here?
All right. So tips of the week, we have a beginner tip and we have a advanced tip. And this goes through and just pretty much gives you, whether you just started, a hint that's saying, okay, here's something I can do to really help me get farther in the game. Or with an advanced tip, maybe it's something that most people don't realize or you haven't actually seen. Maybe we're taking advantage of a glitch of some sort to make something happen, to either make your base cooler, to maybe get you farther in a BR or something like that. So tips of the week is just something to help you in your game.
Yeah, and it's time for tips of the week. Brian,
All right.
So, Brian's got the whole intro to grab a glass of water, and right as the song is finishing up, he decides it's time to take a drink. I was like, oh, I wonder if Brian's going to grab something to drink during this.
Hey, I had time.
Everybody saw you. It's all right.
Quick sip.
So the
beginner tip of this week is using a vehicle in VR. A lot of people, and our crew does this pretty well. We will group in with and I know people hate this, but we'll group in with like 5 people. We'll have a couple of people
played.
I know you're not supposed to do it that way. And, hey, release grouping systems for VRs. Until then, we'll keep playing. So if you take a vehicle, let's say you initially get your vehicle, you want to save that vehicle till the very end. Do whatever you can to keep that. And one thing we found that works really well is if you just stay right on the outside of that smoke line and just kind of park, wait till the 30 to 60 mark. And this, people could say, oh, that's an advanced tip. Actually, it's a very simple tip. Anyone can do it. You don't have to have a huge clan. You don't have to have a base. You just have to have a vehicle and a VR. And so just kind of park that on the edge of the smoke ring and wait. Once you hit this, depending on the terrain, you may want to not wait till the 30 seconds if you're at a mountain or something. But once that 30 to 60 second timer happens, start coasting in and drive your vehicle in and try to measure, okay, here's about where that smoke's going to stop this first time, this next time. Stop there and wait. You'll be surprised that'll cut down a lot on people coming from behind you. Of course, you would still want to keep watching that smoke line because some people will sit there and bandage or coming out at the last second and will shoot you. But you want to make sure, just kind of stay to the back so you don't have a lot of cross traffic with those people that are moving across the map. I think this will be extra important once they come out those explosives for vehicles, because you could have somebody sneak up on you, throw a grenade that you don't hear, and then blow up your vehicle instantly. So stay on the outside of the map, coast in, and I guess here's a bonus tip. When you're not driving, when you're parked, turn your vehicle off, and that's the K. You have K on your keyboard. That will turn the motor off. And then we already talked last week about locking your doors. Lock your doors every time. So that's the beginner tip. And then a more advanced tip, this is a base building tip. If you go through and let's say you want to make a garage, they have it to where you can put the lower foundations, or you can use the dirt to actually build a gate around. But if you then put a building inside of there, maybe a normal container or a normal structure, you can put that in there and then build something on top of it. So put in a small size structure in the bottom, and then you can put a large structure and that will cover over. And we do the same thing. We'll be showing a little bit with our base of how we use this to make our base bigger. But if you place one with a small one on the bottom, a large one on top, you can then destroy that bottom one and that structure will stay hovered. And so if you put the large gates around the dirt and then you put this container up atop, you can then drive vehicles underneath of it. And so it creates a roof. So you have to keep doing that. And you can kind of map it out with how you have to put those different containers in there. But keep putting a small structure, and then another small one, and then you can line up those the 3 of the large ones, and then put another one sideways. And then I think you have to put one more small one, and that gives you a full roof. So you will be using some resources, but that will put a roof on your garage. And you can then open the gate, drive in, and then close it. Another part of this tip is that you need to be careful, because if they have anything that they can throw a grenade through in the future, there's a chance that will be able to explode your base or explode the cars in there, and they'll explode in that base. So you can actually make it so that the gates, if you put a gate down, open it, and then you can put down a wall, a lower wall and an upper wall. You can then destroy that lower wall, still close the gate, and it will seal off the top to the ceiling of that garage. So that's pretty much the way to create a totally sealed garage that no one can shoot into. Don't put gates all the way around the garage unless you want it just to be extra protection, but you need to make sure you put the walls, because the gates will have gaps that you can shoot through, so they can shoot through and blow up your vehicles that way. You need to actually put walls all the way around, but if you're going to put walls and gates, put your gates first. Then when you're ready to put the walls in, then you can open all the gates, place your walls, and then close all the gates after that.
Well, there you go.
So that's an advanced tip. And most people won't be doing that unless they have somewhat of a group, or if they have a pretty large base already.
Let's see if we can't get some pictures or some video next week, and then you can maybe just go over that quickly again, so people can visualize it a little bit better. But
okay, yeah, we could definitely do that.
Yeah, thanks for the tips, Brian. If you guys, this is a quick little thing. If you guys are enjoying the tips of the week, or if you have suggestions, we haven't gotten any suggestions yet, which I was a little surprised. Contact at infectionpodcast.com. Contact us on Twitter. Let us know if you like this segment. We're all about trying stuff out. If it's something that you're just like, I already know all this stuff. I don't really need this. Maybe we could switch it up a little bit and make it so that it's only the advanced stuff. But definitely give us any feedback if you have that. And, of course, infectionpodcast.com. You can get a hold of us and pretty much let us know anything. So, Brian, active players. This is something interesting that you posted in the show notes. And we didn't have a chance to talk about this. I didn't have a chance to talk with you about this before. Is this significant to you? I mean, what are you thinking with these numbers? You want to go a little bit into this?
Okay, so, well, the first thing I noticed was the Steam Store stats, and that one's not nearly in as much detail. But the problem that I ran into is I looked at that number, and I was like, okay, there's about 9,000 people playing, 10,000 peak today, right? Well, then I went and looked at this other thing, which is the Steam DB info page.
Yeah.
And if you look at the history, so they have the past 7 days, but they also have the history of the whole game.
Really?
Since release.
Oh, let's see. What do you go? 6 months? Oh, yeah. Wow.
And so if you go and look at that from January 15th-ish, or January 10th, when the initial start happened, it jumps up to over 40,000 people. And then it goes over time, and you can see it's probably when they release certain content, maybe when they release BRs, it jumps up, and then it drops down. And then here, I think April 15th-ish was when they released, was that probably a big content? Was that the dam?
April 15th? Yeah, probably something like that. April 15th would have been that patch yesterday. So maybe this is like a day off, or it's running on a different time zone or something.
Okay, so that was so this was a big jump. Oh, that was April 2nd. So this past patch, where they put out some new things, it jumped up to, 23,000 players, almost 24,000. And then if you look, it's right back down to about 15,000 players today.
So it's a general, I think most
downtrend.
Games have this, where your concurrent players are really high, but this is a significant drop.
Yeah. It's a very, over time, and that's what I was very surprised to see, because we've been wondering, what are the numbers? Well, these are the numbers. Realistically, these are the numbers.
Yeah.
It's just, you look at, 10,000, that's a decent amount of people, but is that enough people to get a realistic portrayal of what we're expecting?
There's less than 9,000 people playing the game right now. That's not a lot of people for over 1 million copies sold.
Yeah.
That's not good. This game is way too new for there to be only 9,000 people playing at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night?
Yeah.
So, we should keep up with this every week. We'll do this every week now. We'll see what's going on and
Well, and sometimes we wonder, when we switch servers, I'm trying to remember when that happened. When did the wipe happen? So it's
the beginning of April?
So the beginning of April was when it went to a low, and then it jumped up right after the wipe, right? Yeah. And so we were wondering, man, we went to another server, and there was just too many people, and it was just frustrating. And then it's now there's nobody. Well, that's because we're at an all-time low now with numbers.
Yeah, there's only 8,000 people playing across, 700 U.S. servers. It feels like that they have. So we're seeing how well that thing is. So April 2nd, yeah, that makes sense. So that was the third wipe. That adds up with the
so a whole bunch of people came in and played after that.
But then they all went away because of the.
But then a ton of people went away.
Yeah, right, including a lot of our clan members because of the hacker issue.
Yeah, so I would like to see this trend start going back up. This has got to be disturbing to them. I would like to see them starting to work their way back up to 40,000. Because we know that, they said there's 1 million people with the game. 10,000 people playing out of 1 million?
Well, yeah, that's that. I mean, yeah, I mean, you factor in hackers. People in chat are saying, "Oh, we're a hacker." 500,000 people got. But I don't believe any of that stuff. That's it's not even close. If 500,000 people out of a million getting banned.
Or they're saying 5,000 people.
No, Nisco's saying 500,000 people got banned.
There's not. No, that was that statistic of 5,000 people.
Yeah, no, banned. I know, but like even it doesn't matter how many people got banned. There's still 9,000 people playing the game.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. They've got to figure out a way to start drawing those people back, and a part of it will be they really need to get rid of. Really need to get rid of the hackers to where that's not a focus. I mean, we haven't focused on it this week, but they're still there. It hasn't been as bad, but how much of it is they haven't been as bad is because there's that many less people playing. They've got to start making it to where people are wanting to come back, and this counts VR too. I mean, this isn't just on servers. So a lot of these people, out of 10,000 people, how many of those people are in BRs? They're not on servers.
Yeah, I don't know. This is
also someone mentioned GTA 5. I mentioned GTA 5.
Yeah.
How much of it is it because of the release of GTA 5 that we're in an all-time low?
Yeah, I mean that makes sense too. I know you've been playing it. I got to pick it up eventually. So there's a lot of factor, but like you said, Brian, it should be concerning for them. Like there should be somebody inside of Daybreak that's going, damn, like this isn't good. Like we should have more than 8,700 people playing on a Tuesday night. Yeah, and that's not good.
And as they said, there's over 1 million people that own it. Like 1,072,000 something, almost 73,000 people have the game that have purchased it. So they're going to have to release, like someone talked about the hospital, they're going to have to start releasing this content. Things that people will feel like it's new and they need to go explore. I think the map, like the dam, wasn't enough. Like there's not anything new there. They didn't implement the gameplay elements that go along with it of creating power, doing all these extra things. So once you go see the dam, what do you do with it? There's not anything special there to go get.
Yeah.
So I think they need to come out with something like like the hospital, like an airport. That way Ferment can get his stupid helicopter he's always going on about. Some of these different things they need to implement into there that are those pivotal gameplay elements.
Yeah.
What if there was a helicopter that you could go get? Maybe there wasn't very much fuel for the helicopter, but maybe it allowed you to do something that you normally wouldn't be able to do, like get to a place where you can get something. Part of a quest. Something.
You just talked about the hospital, Brian, and Sebastian, who is one of the art director, who is the art director for Daybreak, and is working on the H1Z1 project. Just tweeted this picture out. And it's a little schematic of the hospital so far that he's working on. A pretty low-res picture, but you can see kind of what's going to go on. And he said he's building it like the Game of Thrones intro, where everything is just kind of that, like outline block system. So nice to see that there's some progress on it. Now, this is just the art, so this isn't any
layout.
Exactly. So this isn't any implementation. But right now it's a start for the art. So there you go.
And if you look, I mean, they do have a floor plan for that first floor. It looks like they laid that down, and now they're just putting up walls to match the floor plan.
And then there's like a more detailed, like actual drawing, like pencil drawing, or in this case, like a CAD drawing.
The actual floor plan of it. Because it looked like if you look at that 3D model, they have they put the floor plan down there, and now he's just like adding the elements of, here's a wall.
Exactly.
He's building up a 3D model from that, so that actually turns into 3D.
Yeah. So there you go. There's some progress with that. So soon enough, we'll see the hospital come in.
Are we going to see people running around in hospital gowns?
Yeah, well, what about a gift shop? Hospitals are known for their gift shop, so maybe we'll see.
So you can get a nice little bear to give you your honey.
Yeah, exactly. You can buy a balloon. That won't. You can run through the forest with a balloon. Brian, our forums.
Oh, yeah.
Are we ready to talk about this?
Yeah, so we actually added forums for our clan. And so I know a lot of you probably aren't in our clan yet because we have a lot of listeners Well, we have more listeners than we do have clan members, which makes sense. But if you want to come be a part of our clan, and I pretty much say this every week, we have a place where it says under the website, if you go to clan, join us, it'll have step-by-step instructions of how to join our clan. But we created a forum so that we could share things, post information. We created a very in-depth code system so that people don't have the code immediately to get into the building. We have multiple sets of codes. I mean, it's crazy, but this is a way to implement that. So there's some actual security at our base.
Yeah, so how can people get to our forum?
Forum.infectionpodcast.com.
All right.
And that will take you there. So far, it's pretty close to complete. I'm tweaking it here and there, but that will give you some general information. We post introductions there. We don't have our clan spotlight this week. We're hoping to get it done this weekend, but the person that we're supposed to be doing it with wasn't on. So
yeah.
We'll be actually doing some this week, and then we'll have our clan spotlight for next week. But we do have introductions where people can kind of talk about who they are, maybe talk about some things outside of game, what they do. Mm-hmm. And if you want to become a part of our clan, in there you can put clan applications. There's a lot of different things in the forum. And we also are playing some other games too. So we have in there where if you want to post about another game that you found, you're more than welcome to post it.
Yeah, so we have this thing where we've been playing other games, and I wouldn't say we're becoming a multi-game clan, but we're starting to venture into other games. So if you're interested in joining our clan and playing some other games with us as well, the forum is definitely a good place to go. There's also a link on the website. If you go to infectionpodcast.com, on the right-hand side, there's a link there, so you can get that as well.
We've had people playing this robot game.
Yeah, RoboCraft. That game's a lot of fun.
RoboCraft.
It's a free-to-play. It's a lot of fun.
And you build a robot, and then you fight people. So a lot of people have been playing that. We got some good games to where, if you just want to take a break from H1Z1 for a couple days or an hour, jump in there. Some people are playing some other games. You can jump in and play for a little bit. Keeps you in the community, but you don't have to be an H1Z1.
Yeah, that was that was a little bit me this week. I was just kind of like, not feeling H1Z1 right now. So I was playing RoboCraft with some of the other clan members, and that was fun.
Yep. Ferment says, 100 euros spent. Yes, free to play. So Ferment finds that he has to buy every little feature that's possible for it. It's like for him, it's an achievement.
Yeah, there you go. It is what it is. To each their own.
All these free-to-plays, it's amazing how much you can spend, and that's kind of what they're counting on with this game, too. People will buy those additional things. They're hoping for the skins, for the crates, the keys, whatever it is, they're hoping that people will buy those. Mm-hmm. Right now, there's not... People are buying those crates. I mean, I purchased 2 crate keys. I didn't get anything good. And so I was like, well, I don't really want to buy another one. I think that they need to come up with like a system of, okay, you buy a crate key, you're not going to get a repeat skin. Why would I get a repeat skin? Well, I got 2 repeat skins, I think. Or no, I got 1 helmet that I didn't have, and then a repeat skin.
Well, that sounds fun. That's productive, right? Money well spent. Or wait, what about when you buy?
They got to come up with a way that when you pay for something, you're not going to get a repeat.
What about when you buy 2 keys and it gives you a crate?
Did that happen to you?
No, didn't that happen to you? You bought 2 something and it gave you a crate, I thought.
Oh, yeah. So I bought I clicked on buy a crate key and it gave me another airdrop, which I've never used a single airdrop.
Yeah, neither have I.
8, I think. And so it gave me a 9th airdrop, and I wrote them and I said, this makes no sense. I don't want a 9th airdrop. I never even used a single airdrop. I'm waiting for the actual release of the game. Yeah. And so they went through and it took them a week or 2 to actually get to it, and they were like, oh, all right, we guess so. I'm like, you can't say that I went and used an airdrop. It's like, I've never used an airdrop. If I would have been using airdrops and be like, oh, I didn't get what I wanted, I want a refund, that's different, but I've never used one.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let's see. What else?
So, and then we actually have the upcoming roadmap. And so these are the things, we can kind of be somewhat generic on this because we will be covering some of these things next week when they're actually released. But this is the upcoming in 2 days roadmap. A big thing is Steam Marketplace. So you can pretty much go through and buy and sell skins.
Yeah, wonderful. This is I love this. This is great. Nothing more do I love than a zombie survival game where they're top thing on their April 23rd patch is the marketplace. I love nothing more than that.
So let's see now. The nice thing about this is that when you get those repeat skins, you actually can turn around and sell them.
What is the market going to... Everybody has the same crap. I mean,
But okay, if you're someone who buys crates, you're going to have a skin that maybe someone else... So let's say Ferment buys a skin, or Nisco buys a crate key and gets a skin, and he's like, oh, I have 2 of that now. There's no point in having 2. Let's say I have that Z zombie hat that I won when I got first place in BR. Mm-hmm. I've never seen, I don't see other people with that skin. I could say, oh, well, I don't never use that skin, so I'll trade you that for a pair of pants since I don't have any pants skins yet.
So here's the thing. I understand that they need to implement this, and I know Team Fortress has a system like this. I don't believe there's enough unique items in the game for them to have a marketplace like TF2's got their own websites for it, the TF2 Trade Depot. Yeah. There's not enough items. I mean, yeah, there's a rare skin here and there, but it's not like you're walking around and there's, thousands of different skins that you could get. It's a very limited number. I'm not sure we're far enough into the game for them to be a marketplace. Like,
well, that's
what are you
going
to sell?
Really need to start working on.
Your 17 red trucker hats? I mean, everybody's got them. Yeah, you may have a rare backpack skin, but that's it. And maybe a rare shirt or a rare pants skin. There's like 4 things that are like extremely rare, maybe.
Well, and that's exactly it. This is going to be for more of those. This is pretty much just appeasing those people that are putting out the money, that are saying, I'm sick and tired of getting the same skin. It will make it so that if people can put out money, when they get a couple of those repeats, they can go out and buy the ones they didn't get. It'll give you a way with, okay, I'm going to only buy this many crates, which should be enough to get everything. And then I'm going to go trade those other ones for the ones that I didn't get. Because you could instantly get every skin. I'm sure that the ones that are more rare are going to be harder to get. But does this become a pay to win? I can go and just buy that helmet skin at that point, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't affect how you play in the game. Just because you're a cool guy with your helmet skin doesn't mean that.
Yeah, but it changes it from I have a bright blue helmet on, which is the only one of that skin now, to a camouflage one.
Yeah,
so
but I don't think so. I don't think that that's a pay to win element. You can hide in a bush with it. You can just take your helmet off, and then there you go. I mean,
yeah, and someone says I haven't seen anyone with a gray camo helmet ever, and that's the same thing with me. I mean, they must be really rare because I've never seen anyone with the camo helmets.
Yeah, I don't know. Or I think we have somebody in our group with a backpack skin.
Ferment has a backpack skin. I know some people have those backpack skins, and those are cool. I mean, you get a bright orange backpack, you can skin it to a camo one.
Now, let me be clear. I'm not against the marketplace. Don't take this as I don't like the marketplace.
I'd rather them roll it out when it's finished.
Exactly. Once there are more items for you to be for there to be traded, I'm all for the marketplace. I bought a lot of stuff on Team Fortress 2. That was a cool thing I enjoyed. I worked to try to get rare items. I researched what crates would open certain items to try to get it and sell stuff. That's a cool aspect of the game. But there's just frankly not enough rare items in this game where it's like, hey, let's trade this.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I guess they keep putting these things in, but they don't have, as you said, they don't have enough skins yet. So that's going to be something that, for me, I don't know what I'm going to really be wanting to trade right now until they start to put in some of these other things, because I don't want to give away my good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got if you got a backpack skin, you're not selling it. Yeah, unless you're getting cash for it, maybe.
Unless you have, or if you have multiples.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now another thing that they're adding is screen effects. Mm-hmm. This is going to make it so that they can do like a night vision goggles. Maybe when you're drinking alcohol or too much swizzle, like your screen gets kind of funny. So that's something they're adding just to kind of bring in that realism. The H1Z1 virus is something they're actually bringing back in. So once you get the virus, if it's not maintained, they're going to slowly begin to turn into a zombie.
Finally a use to pick up antibiotics and other stuff inside the houses.
And they say that gaining zombie senses as they go. So, and this is something that I've understood early on as when you say gaining zombie senses, you actually are able to sense whether a person is around you, because those zombies have this weird sense of there's someone over there, I'm going to go to them. They have some sort of an ESP, I guess you could call it. So it kind of will give you run the risk of you drain different things faster, but you have this extra sense. So people are going to be balancing that actual infection to try to benefit them versus they're going to be draining things and they risk dying.
Yeah. That's interesting. So that'll be something else to work
night
for.
Vision, so that'll be interesting to see.
Like, where's there going to be a chart?
It says night vision and player tracking.
But is there going to be like a timeline? Like, is this going to be
you have a zombie? You have a percentage. I don't know what that is.
That's what I'm wondering. Where's this threshold? Is it going to be a set number? Is it going to be between this and this? Like, that's going to be once it's out, it'll be easier to find. Now, we're getting a lot of slack or a lot of feedback in the chat about the skins. Somebody's saying there's over 80 skins in the game currently. Wow, nobody's getting them then.
And some of them are V1. They're ones that are not being repeated. You either have them from the old crates, and you're not going to get them again. So they're non-repeats. But there's a million of them, because that's when you would go into a BR, you'd exit a BR, you'd get something.
Yeah.
From the old bags. So those ones aren't necessarily, unless there's someone starting fresh and new that doesn't have those ones, those are not going to be that sought after.
But I don't even think 80 skins is enough for there to be a marketplace. How many thousands of skins are there in Team Fortress 2? I mean, I'd love to see that number. I'm going to do a quick, I don't know how, let's see. Or not skins, but like how many different items are there? Like, I would love to see how many items there are in Team Fortress 2 that you can get. I mean, it's endless. It's a scrolling list. It will never end.
Yeah, and I think that they're going to have to get to that point to where people can make themselves unique so that they feel special.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is people get a unique look, they get a rare skin. What is a unique look and rare skin right now in the game?
Absolutely nothing.
I mean, I pretty much get camo, but other than you getting maybe the weird hippie shirt, or you get some tracksuit or something, but you are not necessarily the only person. If you run into a BR and you look in the beginning area, there's probably about 10 other people that look exactly like you. And so I think they're going to have to get enough to where, okay, this is the hat that I wear, this is the outfit that I wear, I'm somewhat unique. There's not another person in BR who's dressed exactly like me.
Yeah. So there's literally a page, and it's tf2stats.net. I can't even keep counting. I'm just counting the rows, and there's got to be at least 1,500 skins on this website, or 1,500 items. Probably closer to 2,000 of all the items here. That's when you can start making a trade marketplace.
Well, and this is where they have places that you can submit skins to possibly be used.
Yeah.
And this is where they're going to have to really use the community and have a way. Hey, you like the skin? Let the community make skins. Well, there's a lot of great artists out in the community.
Yeah.
Make it so that they can submit skins, and actually make it so that the developers don't have to draw every single little thing. Give them a template to work with. Here's the frame that you work with. Make a design. Make a look.
Yeah.
Make something within that framework that we can add to the game.
And saying TF2 has been out for 7 years. I understand that. I'm saying that 80 items is not enough to have a full-fledged marketplace. What the hell are you going to trade?
Well, okay, how many of those 80 items are actually rare?
Exactly.
That's what I count as a marketplace.
Not enough.
A majority of those are not going to be tradable.
I mean, if I can see, I'm going to try to open up my H1Z1 right now and just try to see how many items I have and how many of those different versions. I mean, who is going to want the red trucker hat? Where am I going to sell that? Like, I'm just going to keep 17 in my inventory.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't think right now.
I think if they came up with a place, and that's what Team Fortress did right, if they came up with a place that I could draw, whether it's a clan, maybe it's a clan skin, is say that I want to use this for my clan, have a way for me to submit that into there, and it's an extra skin for them that maybe we can win. Make a way that there is something that our clan can then earn that skin. I mean, create things like that, and then make it to where we can keep earning it, and then start giving them away to people in our clan. I mean, create that extra set of hoops, things to keep us busy, things to make it so that there's content and things to do in the game.
Yeah. And so somebody in the chat is saying it has nothing to do with quantity. It allows people to trade them off. I understand that. Who is going to buy a red trucker hat is what I'm saying. Like, there's not enough rare items. So Musty's saying out of 80 items, there's got to be 20 or so that's worth. So I'm in the game right now. I've got 7 Battle Royale loser T-shirts, 11 black and yellow hats. Oh jeez. Let's see what else here. Just got some camo beanies, a gray striped T-shirt. I mean, what is this stuff? Who is going to buy this?
Come up with these unique items, these things that actually stand out, and that's things that they haven't released yet. They are going to be releasing some of the tactical gear, the stuff that maybe is a full-length trench coat, cool-looking hats. These are things that they will be releasing. Those are the things that are going to be hot on the marketplace.
Exactly, and I just don't see the use of having the marketplace until those items are in the game. It's about trading. But again, what are you going to trade? One red hat for one yellow beanie? I don't see enough rare items where it's going to be traded right now.
Well, other than me trying to trade for whether it's the camo pants or maybe the backpack skin or that helmet skin, they need to come up with more things like that are desired.
Exactly. That's all.
That are very rare and desired to where that's what people are working for.
If they
people then buy those keys to be able to get in there.
If they had 50 items that were rare, that would be like, all right, now there's something to work towards. But 10 to 20-ish rare items is not enough to have a full-fledged marketplace, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. This is not down with the marketplace. It's a stupid idea. This is just they're rolling it out too early. There's not enough. There's no demand.
Look the problem is everyone will then complain, and I'm sure some of us included, that okay, they just released 20 new hats this week. Big deal. They'll be harping on them for releasing a bunch of things that we consider pointless. But those are the things that they really need to do.
That's what's going to happen right now. Once the marketplace is out, they're just going to start pounding out releasing new items because that's their cash cow.
But that's where I'm saying they need to come up with a way for the community to do that, so the developers aren't wasting their time making 50 variations of hats.
Yeah. Nisco is saying, for me, the rare items now look normal. They don't look super cool. That's the thing. It's now that that one person can skin everything, a rare backpack is only as rare as who you're playing with. Ferment's got a backpack skin. We all have that backpack skin now, essentially.
Yeah. Well, Kramit was saying pretty much what my idea is. They need to create a player studio, some sort of tools that will allow us to go and make stuff, and then submit it to them. Say, hey, we made this. Is this good enough to be in the game?
Yeah. They got to do something, because right now, Ferment's skin, backpack skin, is my backpack skin, and Brian's backpack skin, and all 20 other clan members' backpack skin. It's not rare. Like in TF2, you have the hat.
We come across those backpacks, not just those backpacks, but we come across the military backpacks so easily, though, too, that we don't even hardly ever use the regular backpack skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
he's saying that the SOE Player Studio, it exists,
but not for H1Z1.
But they need to make it to where they have maybe some art that they release and put out a push for it, just like they did in TF2. Put out a push for, hey, we'd love it if you submitted us items. Yeah. Because imagine how much content they would get.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, we understand that there's a player studio, but they're not using it. So they'd have to.
The player studio is for like EverQuest and the different things they're working on there. They do not push H1Z1 in there, and he says it will, which I understand.
Yeah, but when will? Like they're rolling out the marketplace.
That's what I'm saying is they need to push that out, get a ton of submissions, then make the marketplace.
Exactly. There's nothing. Here's the thing: the marketplace is going to roll out. It's initially like the first week, everybody's going to be trading all their rare stuff, and then it's going to be dead until there's more items. That's essentially what's going to happen. It's going to be the cool thing for 45 seconds, and then it's going to... What am I going to use the marketplace for? I have nothing rare.
And we'll just have to do fun trades. Like I trade 100 of this shirt for 100 of that shirt.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to walk around with 750 Battle Royale loser t-shirt skins.
Now, what if they came up with achievements? Like I have 1,000 Battle Royale loser t-shirts. That's an achievement. Like if you actually get an achievement in game.
Exactly. Just do something with it. Because right now, like the I don't know. I feel like I'm like beating a dead horse here, but it's way too early to be rolling that out. Just logistically, there's nothing to trade. There's nothing that I want.
We talked about in the last 2 weeks that those what were they, the Steam cards?
Yeah, the trading cards.
So I mean that's something that we view as pointless, and they are pretty pointless. But that I'm assuming they're just putting the structure in there to have it work.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be what it is. I mean, they're putting it in there, and we harp on them and say, "Why are you wasting your time on this?" But for them, I think it's more of them just getting the structure in there, and then they perfect it later.
Now, Hannah TV is saying they need to make it so that when you skin an item in a container, the skin is removed from it. I don't know what he's talking. Does he say it should remove from your inventory? You put a skinned item in a container, the skin is removed. No,
he's saying that it goes back to the original item.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
So that you can't skin stuff for other people.
Well, then what they need to do is they need to lock skin items to your character. You either shred it or you keep it on you.
That big hand's a bind and pick up. I mean, that's how other games treat it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be. It's not. You can't place it in the chest. It's binded to your character. You can
shred it.
You shred it, you die, or that's what happens.
So, but yeah, I think that they're going to have to do achievements. They're going to, make it so where I'm always pushing for more content, more time wasters. I mean, WoW was the king of this. There's other games that are really good at it. Make time wasters in game, because there's too much time of twiddling thumbs saying, I don't know what to do now. We've killed everybody around the map. We've gotten 10 cars. We have a huge base.
I log into the base. I walk around for 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, same as it was 4 days ago. Nothing to do, and I just log back out. I mean, right now there's nothing to do.
We end up going and raiding like 10 different bases, in a night, because what else are you going to do?
Yeah, who knows?
Musty says, yeah, he kills a guy. He killed a guy because he wanted his red shoes. When you get to the point of you're running around looking for somebody, oh, that guy has red shoes. I want those red shoes. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, there you
go. There's a base there. I don't know if there's anything I need in the base, but we've got so much blowing up materials. Let's just go blow up
our whole base
within a mile of our base. That's what it's turned into.
Exactly. So they, that I think what we're saying right now also reflects those player numbers. Why are there less than 9,000 people playing? Because there's nothing to do. It's the same crap over and over again.
Nisco said in chat, have it to where like I killed 1,000 zombies. Achievement. That achievement shows up in Steam. Have those things that, if I craft 10,000 more bandages, I get this achievement. That's what people want.
Yeah.
They really need to do that.
We'll see. This is a very interesting time. The hype of the game has, from my experience, has worn off a little bit. Right? They're in this
now.
They're in a stage right now.
The next morning,
they're in the stage right now where they need to either ramp it up or it's just going to keep declining. I think this is a pivot. This is going to be a very pivotal time right now. They no longer have the free to play. This game has been hyped for a year thing going on. It's past that. We're over 3 months into this now. We've got to make improvements, or our bottom end player base is going to keep falling out from under us. Which, as of right now, that's what it looks like it's doing. And let's just say this
because I know a lot on VR. I mean, seems like that's what they're hoping will save this. And so, speaking of VR, they're going to be putting in this first-person VR.
Yeah,
that's not something I think is going to pull enough people back. That is a little bit of a variation. People can play their preference, but I think adding a first-person it's going to be like a hardcore mode, which but that doesn't seem like it's a big enough thing to really. It's not a huge deal. They're just locking you to a mode. They already do this on servers. It's just a small variation of this.
Yeah. Now, let's just say this real quickly for anybody that's watching this show right now. Brian and I support H1Z1 150%. We want what is best for this game. So we're not nitpicking at their things. we're having a discussion. We're talking about our concerns. We're getting the concerns from the chat. We support the game. We don't do this show every week because we hate the game and we want it to fail. This is not why we put an hour and a half into this each week and then editing and uploading and all that stuff. We want what's good for the game, and we're stating what we see and how we interpret it. So it's a discussion.
Well, and I notice, I mean, if you look at, I remember early on when no clippers were going into the bases, into the rooms constantly, immediately on Reddit, people said, well, why don't you lock it so that if someone comes into the room improperly, they can't, and pretty much what they just rolled out last week. That was said a month or two ago on Reddit, exactly that way. Well, obviously someone listened to that feedback, someone maybe wrote it down somewhere, and they actually implemented it exactly as it was stated. That's where here, in things like our show, I like to brainstorm and say, I see a problem here. Here's something that I don't know why it works this way, or I don't think it should work this way. Here's how I think it should work. Because you know what, we do have sometimes that they are listening to this, or sometimes I'll see Reddit posts made based on some of our suggestions from either the chat room or us.
Yeah.
And then those things get noticed. And so for me, people will say, well, why do you talk about this? Sometimes I say, hey, I don't like this, just because it's something that I think is hurting people wanting to get into the game or staying in the game. And, here's a way that I think it could be done better. Or, we harped on the hackers and all this. That is hurting the game in my mind. I think they should focus on that. That's my suggestion. I'm not saying I'm going to quit playing tomorrow if they don't focus 100% on it, because I realize that they need to get these other things in place. And that's why I say, okay, I understand the Steam Marketplace. They need to get the structure. I understand the trading cards. They need to get that in place. Mm-hmm. I even bring up achievements. But of course, then if they put in achievements next week, I'd say, why are they wasting their time on achievements? Right? I mean, so they can never win.
Of course. Now, they're a PC. They're developing a game for the computer, and it's a hardcore gaming audience. They will never win.
And so I have to understand that when I'm criticizing, that they're never going to do it exactly how you or I want it. It's never anything they do will always be wrong. But I think that if we keep pushing, saying, okay, well, they need to improve in this area, they need to improve in this area. Well, they are improving. Yeah, exactly. I try to give them credit where they are, because I mean, look at these different things they put in. They do make a lot of changes on a month-to-month basis. If you go, the game's only been out for months, right? Mm-hmm. There's a huge amount of things that have been put in, and so I think we'll never be able to hit the point where we'll say, "Oh, it's done," because this is one of those games, and that's one of the benefits of this type of a game. Mm-hmm. It's just like, wow, it's never done, right?
Exactly.
There's always something they can keep adding. They can always keep growing the map, and so I think this is one where you have to keep pushing them. Say, keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward. And these but also we have to sometimes say, hey, okay, you guys are doing good. Thank you very much for what you've given us.
Yeah,
but keep pushing forward.
And a lot of the a lot of the sessions we give, like I was saying, I don't want this right now. But this is just something that's in my head, and I want to get it out there. I'm not saying something that I say right now needs to be implemented tomorrow. And Brian's not saying the same thing either. These are just things that come to our minds. We bring it up, and we hope that one day when time permits and the game isn't in alpha and it's in beta or it's final release, that we see some of this stuff implemented. So that's essentially. And
this is some of those things where they even have said to us. And I know they said it in the email to us, but they don't always communicate these things as well as they should. Whether it's about hacking or whether it's about hey, we're releasing this feature. They don't communicate those things. I mean, there's probably a lot of work happening in the background that they don't get credit for because they don't talk about it. Once in a while, release a screenshot. Oh, here's us releasing a screenshot or a small little video of us throwing a grenade or bees. The hospital. I think that they need to keep communicating. Hey, look at what we're working on in this hospital. Keep putting pictures out there. Not totally give it away, but I mean, look at the dam patch. That was a very short period of time that they actually said that was coming. There was very little detail about it. Mm-hmm. They need, whenever they're coming up with things like this, say, hey, we're working on a really big thing. Here's just a teaser, just like they did with they're doing this with the hospital. Maybe they learned their lesson from the dam, but keep giving those teasers to show, hey, look at these big things we're working on. but they need to keep coming out with big things. It doesn't, the hospital is one thing. What are they working on next? Maybe put another teaser out there of another, as I keep saying, whether it's a different landscape, a different type of place. I've seen suggestions of people doing water, like an ocean, a shoreline or something as one of the edges of the map. Come up with those things that they're working on and tease them so that people like us say, hey, look at this cool thing they're working on. Because right now, when they're working and you don't hear a word and all of a sudden they release trading cards, you're like, okay, so that's what they're working on?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what people feel.
And it's also the culture, like I just said. This is a PC game with an audience that they knew what they were getting into. This is how PC stuff happens, right? This is all PC games that are early access. This is exactly what DayZ was, except the developer wasn't as open and transparent, so people asked less questions. They wanted the open and transparent model. They got their open and transparent model. Now they just have to fit with that. There wouldn't be if they from day one weren't releasing all this information. We wouldn't be doing a podcast and we wouldn't be asking questions because we're like, well, they don't talk about anything. So I'm grateful that they talk about what they do, but maybe a little bit of better communication, stuff like that. Like they do, every once in a while they do. Like they did that QA stream once. Like why haven't they done that again? Instead of just doing this weird live stream where they play the game for like 25 minutes. Like that Q&A stream was probably the most helpful thing that they've done so far. They had the developers there, they had the designers there, they had the anti-cheat guys there, they had every single team member there. So they need to do something like that, because in the live streams, and we saw it last week on the show when we were asking questions about hackers or specific issues, they can't get answered.
Yeah.
Because, Adam doesn't work in anti-cheat. So it's like that QA stream is something that I really think they need to bring back. That was really good. I liked that.
And Handy TV, and actually I've said this exact point. He says one person out of a 30-plus member team has worked on the trading cards. And I think I actually said that, whether it was last week or the week before. I said, this is probably just one person, really quickly put in the framework for the trading card system and just got it out there so it was in place. And that's why there's some of those graphics are horrible.
Yeah.
They're just like screenshots and random things. They're not like things you would spend time on making. And I think maybe with the Steam Marketplace, it's them just someone spending some time getting it in place. There's a couple different things, whether it's Steam Friends. One of their people is getting the Steam Friend thing incorporated this week. It's like they're assigning little tasks to individuals saying, I want you to get this put in this week. And we're seeing those roll out. Yeah.
So there we go. Brian, you have anything else you want to cover, or is that time?
I mean, we're coming up to our
2 hour
mark. So much for our 45-minute podcast.
Yeah. Initially, I was like, Brian, can we do an hour? He's like, maybe we should try to do 45 minutes. And every week it's like an hour and a half ordeal. It's a 15-minute podcast, so sometimes it's 2 hours.
No.
All right.
Well, we'll start aiming for 15 minutes, and we'll see if we hit an hour someday.
Yeah, eventually. Brian Aldridge from @BoiseComputer on Twitter. Anywhere else people can find you?
Yeah, if you want to go to my blog, it's biteoftech.com. That's bite with an I, so biteoftech.com. That'll take you, has every single kind of contact thing on there. Or just go to google.com/plus Brian Aldridge, and that's with an I as well.
I literally thought you were just going to say that's bite with a B. I was like, oh, geez,
no.
I don't know how else you'd spell
how
else you'd spell Bite
That's
Tech.
bite with a B-I-I and a T and an E.
Yeah. Sign up on our forums. It's forum.infectionpodcast.com. You can sign up there. There's also a link on the website. We got to get that rolling. Once there's more community members in there, we'll be able to, get that up and rolling. We've got a little bit of a limited group right now. So my name is Nick Craig. @GameCastLive is my Twitter. And infectionpodcast.com is the website. Send us any feedback you may have. We appreciate it. We read all of the emails that we get. We actually get a surprising number of emails. We'll reply. We won't shun you. So go ahead, send us an email, follow us on Twitter, all that other fun stuff. See you guys next week for Infection. Have a good night.
Have a good night.